Okay. And go.
I just got back from my 24-hour solo, and I've got to say that it was a more powerful healing experience for me than the 2.5 years of therapy that I've been in since early 2017. As I had mentioned before I started this trip, I was really, really scared and really nervous to get out here and be by myself. I was afraid that once I was alone by myself, the negative, rushing, racing thoughts would start taking over. I would start obsessing, start getting really nervous, lonely, scared. But none of that happened. Instead, I would say that I had the most powerful healing experience that I might have ever had. I came into my solo with the intention of developing self-love so that I could love people better, so that I could be more present for people, so that I could show up better for everyone around me. And I think that I made a huge amount of progress. Being out there alone wasn't scary. It was really comforting. It created the space for me to really reflect on the things that have been bothering me for my entire life. I was able to put pen to paper and explore some of the things that have been bugging me for my entire life. And I was able to transcend a lot of that. I was also able to come to a couple of really amazing epiphanies. Number one, I had always described myself as an extrovert. But what I learned being out on my solo was that me describing myself as an extrovert was only but an excuse to focus on other people, to draw my energy from other people so that I wouldn't have to look inward and examine the pain that had been with me my entire life. The second realization is that self-love is the requirement for loving. Without self-love, I am unable to properly love anyone else. Without self-love, I cannot be present for others. I can't show up for others. Without self-love, nothing, absolutely nothing, will fill that hole inside of me. I've been rich, I've been poor, I've been single, I've been in relationships, but I've always felt alone because I never had self-love. So I set the intention of going into the desert and finding that self-love, and I found it. And what it took to find that self-love was an immense amount of forgiveness. I had to forgive myself for a lot of the terrible things that had happened throughout my life. I had to forgive people like my parents, who I blamed for so long, who I blamed for so much, because I felt they had wronged me so much. And in doing so, I learned that in order to get through life, and to get through life with joy and happiness, I had to forgive myself and commit to myself that I'm going to love me more than anything else, that I'm going to take care of myself and put myself first, and do that in the least selfish way possible. What I learned out there is that self-love is not a selfish act. but rather it is the fundamental principle upon which being a loving, good, responsible, virtuous human is built upon. By loving myself, I am now able to love others. I always used to say that I loved others, but I think now I can love with authenticity. I can now be alone and not be afraid. I can give other people space without feeling like I'm being abandoned. And just to sum it all up, I can be alone. I can be in solitude, and I know deep down that everything is going to be okay. There is no fear associated with being alone anymore. Rather, it's a joy. And solitude, for me at least, is going to be a regular practice that I incorporate into my life at regular intervals. I would like to come back out here at least once a year and do a solo, but perhaps once a month I'm going to drive myself out to somewhere beautiful, leave my phone in the car, take a hike for 8 hours, think about what's really bugging me, get to the bottom of it, and emerge feeling empowered, filled with self-love, so that I can go back into the community and mirror that to my loved ones. Solitude is an important building block of my life now. It is the basis upon which I can build presence, mindfulness, love, compassion, everything in life, at least everything that's good in life, is built upon a strong relationship with myself, and that can only come from taking the time to be alone by myself in solitude every now and then. I will be forever grateful for this experience.